Hi, BookTube. It's Gina. Happy Friday. How are you? I love Fridays. I love doing a Friday Reads video, and I love watching everyone's Friday Reads videos. They're always so much fun. I love catching up on what you're reading, what you've been reading, what you're planning on reading. I was in a reading slump for a while, and I think maybe slump's not the right word. I'm adjusting to retirement. I've been enjoying watching YouTube videos, watching TV. And so I just have not had the kind of oomph to read. So I guess that's a bit of a slump. I was also doing a lot of traveling, and when I'm traveling, for some reason, I'm also just doing other things, and even at night in bed when I normally would be reading, I just don't. So anyway, I feel like I'm kind of getting back in the swing of things. And since I talked to you last, I actually finished 3 books, which is amazing. And I mean, they were 3 super short, easy books, but still 3 books is good. I try really hard not to be judgmental about applying good versus bad to my reading, but I do want to read more just because I want to read more. So since I talked to you last, let's talk about the books. The first book that I finished was this one I mentioned last time. This is Chain of Attack by DeWeese. This is a Star Trek book, obviously, the original series. And I know most of you are not all that interested in Star Trek books, but I love these Star Trek books. This one I didn't love so much, but I love reading Star Trek books in the summer. There's a Star Trek book reading event called Book Trek that I co-hosted with the team the first year, and then they stretched it out to be all 3 months of the summer, which was just too much for me. So I had to bow out of co-hosting, but I love reading Star Trek books in the summer. They are fun, they're light. If you don't have to, I probably miss some of the backstory on these because I am not a Star Trek super fan. I don't know or remember a lot of the backstory. I have watched the whole series all the way through, but you can read these without being a super fan. This one was not my favorite. It was all right. It had a really great premise, which was that the Enterprise was exploring and got pulled through some kind of gate that they couldn't explain that took them far, far away, sort of like a Voyager premise. And they had to try and figure out, one, how to get back, but there were also 2 warring factions that they kind of got in the middle of. All of that I really loved. The part of this book that I didn't love was they, of course, had a consultant on the ship with them who was there to consult. He knew something about kind of the anomalies that they were seeing, but he was just a terrible character. He was supposed to be a terrible character, but I felt like it was just a plot ploy to cause trouble. That character didn't really fit in with the story. I felt like the crew didn't react to him the way they would normally react to people. So it just didn't really work for me, that part of the story. But overall, still a fun read. I'm glad I finished it. And I'm starting in on the one that was right before this in what apparently is a series, which is called something Abode. I've got it actually in my purse right now because we're going to go out for coffee soon, and I'm going to take it with me to maybe read because I'm going to start on the one just before this next for Book Trek. So that was a good one to finish. Then my little handy dandy book journal that I am now keeping and really enjoying still. This is the first time, you guys, that I've managed to keep a book journal for any length of time. So we'll see if I stick with it. This is just a book journal that is just a list of the books that I finished, list of the books, the titles, the author, the date I finished it, and my star rating. And then this journal, I've showed it to you before, but this journal is just I'm writing notes in it. I am keeping cards in it. If somebody sends me cards, I'm putting stickers. I'm just kind of decorating it a little bit more. And this has my thoughts on the books that I've read. And I've just been having a lot of fun with this one too. But anyway, back to my little book journal. So I also finished A Shilling for Candles, which is by Josephine. It's an Inspector Grant mystery, and I loved this book. I loved the setting. I loved the characters. It's a pretty standard Golden Age-y mystery setup. Obviously, someone is murdered. Inspector Grant is called in. There's some red herrings. And I loved the character of Inspector Grant in this. I'm holding it up like this is the book. I read this book on my Kindle from the library. But I loved the characters. The main red herring person who they thought was the murderer through a lot of the book. I loved his character. I loved the sort of love interest of his character. It was just a really good read. Very enjoyable, low stress, low stakes, although they're trying to solve a murder. But I really enjoyed it. Funnily enough, my least favorite thing about the book was the murder solution. It was pretty standard, pat, not Agatha Christie-ish finished at all. Just very much like, here's a clue, here's the murderer, done. I was like, wait a minute. So we didn't have a lot of clues throughout the book where we could have solved the mystery, but I didn't feel like that was the type of book it was. It was more of a mystery character study, which I really loved. Absolutely loved it. One of my favorite books that I've read so far this year. So I'm going to start in on Brat Farrar next. I got that one on my Kindle from the library also. So I'm going to start in on that. And then next, the third book that I finished was The Market Square by Miss Reed. You guys know I love Miss Reed. She's one of my all-time favorite authors. The Market Square is the first in the Caxley Chronicles, which is loosely interrelated, although it's set a little earlier. It starts just at the death of Queen Victoria. It's going to be the coronation of Edward. And so it's a little earlier than her Thrush Green and Fairacre series, but I feel like some of the Thrush Green and Fairacre characters would have been young in this book. A couple of them were vaguely mentioned, but they're not intertwined really at all. And this has the typical Miss Reed cozy vibes, but I didn't love this book I didn't love it at all, actually. I liked it. It was fine. I'm glad I read it. I've just started in on the second one in this series, which is called The Howards of Caxley. The Howards of Caxley? Yeah. Caxley is the name of the town, the village that they live in. The main thing I did not like about this book, it's not spoilery at all, it's more about the structure, is it starts when two men who are friends and have been friends with some strain in their relationship throughout the years. They've known each other since they were born, basically. And it starts when they are 35 and kind of settling into their lives, their careers, their businesses in Caxley. And it goes up until they're old men with grandkids. And the way it's written, I felt like it just did not settle into the story enough because it covered such a huge period of time. And so I didn't get the vibe of like in Thrush Green where you start to love the characters, you get to know them, you care what happens to them. I didn't feel that same connection in this book. So that was a drawback for me. I'm glad I'm reading it. I'm going to kind of keep going, but I don't think it's going to be a favorite series. The next book, The Howards, I think might be set in a shorter time span. I'm hoping it is because I really enjoy that more when you can really settle into the stories and the characters a little bit more than over 35 years in a 200-something page book. It's like, okay, this happened and this happened and this happened, and you don't really get into the the story all that much. So a little bit of a drawback, but still a recommended read. And thank you to my friend Amy, who reminded me that there were these misread books that I had not read yet. I'm going to start looking for them because I read this one from my library. Also, I don't own this one. I've most often seen these books in a bind up book, but yeah, I don't have it. So start keeping my eyes open for that. All right, so I'm waiting for a book to come in the mail I will show you in my next video. I'm hoping it comes in soon because it has to do with Jane Austen July, and I want to make a TBR video. So that should be coming soon, but I'm waiting for a book to arrive. So anyway, tell me what you're reading, what you're up to this weekend, and I will talk to you later. Bye.